Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Thursday, August 15th meeting of Rotary Club of Milledgeville. This meeting is in order. Please silence your cell phones as Frederick Ellington joins us in service as Rotarian of the Day.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wrote a small prayer before this meeting, and what was on my heart was just pure gratitude. So if you will, please bow your heads and pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for the food, and we thank you for those who help prepare the food. We're thankful for the nourishment to our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Lord, we pray and we thank you for the many blessings you have given us to include this opportunity for fellowship. We pray and we thank you for your steadfast watch over this club, our community leaders, our service members, law enforcement officers, and other first responders. For all things we pray and give thanks in your name. Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, second, third, fourth, my favorite, fifth.
Thank you, Frederick. All right, it's good seeing everyone today. Hope you're having a good week. In case you missed last week, we had a great presentation by Dana Park, our district chair with Rotary Youth Exchange. And please remember the cart buckets on your table, and when you can, bring your change in for cart. And Terry.
Okay. So will you like us a guest again today?
Oh yeah, I have with me my intern. He's in college, and so he's eating. So nice. Appreciate it.
He's here for the food.
He's here for the food.
Okay. And Mark Daler, you have guests who are also our speakers today. If we can wait to introduce. I guess Mark left. And we have Kyle Hitchcock and her son Cannon, and Alexander Boskin. If I'm pronouncing that correctly, Boskin. Balkin. Okay. Did I say that right there? Well, and then we'll hear about who you are in a little bit. And then we also have Jason Taylor, who has transferred from Habersham County Rotary Club. So welcome to all Rotary Club. Paperwork in transit, and when that happens, then we'll officially welcome you in the Rotary here. So, and that's all we have. So I'm going to get. I am shuffling you. I know you don't think you are, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm going to let you pick a number for us today. The last three digits are 620. This time you were paying attention. Stop. Want to just leave it in there? Leave it in. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Terry.
Do you need these names?
Yes, please.
Go get it back.
Thank you. Okay, do we have prayer requests today? Any prayer requests? All right. Michelle, can you help us out with community announcements?
Yes, it's not pretty very much. So they still have the exhibit at the John Marler House and the food truck festival on the 23rd. Also, I did want to do an announcement about the service project. We have on there for the Rotary Mile, but apparently the county is not going to be mowing that mile until like September or October. So we're going to put this cleanup date back. That just came up this week.
Okay. Could everybody hear that? The date for the cleanup, proposed cleanup over on our mile is changed from August the 24th to be determined because the roadways will not be mowed before October this year. And it's very dangerous out there right now. So Tom.
Yeah, so Saturday we got final big day, work day out of Walker B. Williams. I still need at least 2 people with chainsaws. We've got a lot of Georgia College students coming to GC Grid today, and it's splitting up into 4 different groups to prepare some more areas. Need folks to put up the chainsaw and cut. The trees, they're about 4 inches in diameter, with the small logs for really placing the mud areas. So, meeting at 8:30 at the tennis court. You'll see me right afterwards. You can make it.
Okay, thank you, Tom. All right, club business. We talked last week about a QR code for a membership satisfaction survey, and that QR code was emailed out, and it should be on your club program. I think it's on the front page. So the survey is very short. It's not identified to anyone. It was created by the district just to get honest feedback about how you feel for your investment here with Milledgeville Rotary. So if you'll please take 2 or 3 minutes and just go through that. We'll have the results ready when it closes on the 25th. That's a Sunday, and we'll bring those to Club Assembly for discussion. Okay, Jay, did you have an announcement for us?
Just one, if you're on the board, if you wouldn't mind remaining for just a minute at the end of this meeting, so we can discuss something for our next board meeting, which is coming Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Jay. And speaking of, we do have Club Assembly Thursday, August the 29th, the final Thursday of this month, and we'll be reviewing those results as well as committee sign-up opportunities. So please make an effort to come for that meeting. It will count as a makeup day for all who attend, so that's a good thing. Frederick, did you want to report any service project updates from Jola's behalf?
So you heard the ruling, the KMBB road, till October, due to the grass being long and get out there. For August, we are looking at, filling that service project in with, Truth in Nature. Y'all remember they came and did a program about 3 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. And one of the things that it really touched me, and I feel like it really touched the club in terms of what they're doing with their program. One of the things that he mentioned is they're always in need of like camping supplies, little things that would help them when they're out in the woods doing what they do. So I talked to, I can't remember his name now, but I talked to him and I said, hey, could you send us a list of just random things that you all usually need, batteries, flashlights, those sort of things, to us, and then you can sort of see what we can collect as a club to be able to present to him in his mission. So that's something we're thinking about, filling the gap in for August, for September. Just looking ahead, the Rotary things, education and literacy. So we are reaching out to Janet, as well as Sophia Waters with the Education Early Learning Center to set up some dates in September for us to go out and read to the children, like we did last year. So those are some things in the near future. I think in October, October, we did talk about, we did look ahead in October, we got some ideas there, sir, but of course, the board has to meet and kind of go over that and decide what we will end up doing. But those just some things to think about as we
Okay, thank you, Fred. Herschel, do you have foundation updates?
I do, just an update on where we are with foundation givings so far for the year. On the books right now, we have, about $2,600 already given towards foundation. $100 towards, Polio Plus. We got $1,000 goal on Polio Plus, about $100 towards that. A $14,000 goal for the, foundation annual fund. I've got outstanding right now is about $1,800, so we should have somewhere around 4,400 total once that covers, clears, Rotary and everything. So we're looking pretty good right now. But if you need any help or anything, or you wanna write a check or whatever, and let me take care of it for you, I'd be glad to do that, or I can show you how to do it online or whatever. I'll be glad to show you how to do that also. That's the easiest way to do it. So, any questions, if you just thinking of whatever, I got where you're sitting at right now as far as your next level call here. Wanting information,
I have it.
All right, thanks, Herschel. Okay, Jan, would you like to come forward and introduce our special guest today?
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. The Milledgeville Rotary Club, as you all know, has a really strong history of supporting the youth programs for Rotary International, but we don't always get to hear or see what the impact of our support is. So today we are having our two RILA students speak with us on their experience this past June. And what I'm going to do is introduce them one at a time. They'll come up and speak, and then they'll come back and you can ask questions. I think that would be the best way to do it. Our first speaker is Alexander or Alex Bakken. He just graduated from Baldwin High School this past May. While he was at Baldwin High, he participated in soccer, musical theater, and he was also in the local band. And this fall, he's heading to Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire, where I'm from. So, and is looking at a major in either English, anthropology, or music. So, Alex?
First, I'd just like to thank you guys all again for having me. It was a really fantastic opportunity to go to RILA, and now to come back here and just share my experience. I'm really thankful for that. So how I think I'm gonna go about this, I don't wanna steal everything that I can say from Canon. So I'm just gonna take you through some of the highlights. We were at the College of Coastal Georgia, which I don't know if you can see the map, but it was a lot bigger in person. The first day, they gave us just kind of total freedom. We weren't totally off the rein, but I actually, before the program even started, they reached out to me individually. And since I was, I think, either the oldest or second oldest participant there, they asked me if I wanted to do some leadership stuff with them, which it was a lot less official than it sounded. It was really just, I had to keep track of everybody and make sure everybody got to and from all of various places we went. But either way, just to be in that leadership position and also just as somebody who was older than the other participants to kind of be there to help support them and help them develop their leadership skills. That was really fun too. And so because of that, obviously we got some freedom and I got to go, we had this little pond, which was on campus, which was very nice. And we got to go there. But then eventually we had to be back by around 1 p.m. Because we started the orientation, which the orientation, they didn't give us a whole lot of information and it was supposed to be a surprise. But they told a couple people and so nobody was surprised. It was just this huge scavenger hunt, which was all over the campus. And the purpose of it was just to kind of team build. We had to go and we had to take selfies doing things like we pretended to play volleyball on the volleyball court. We had to, I think, was it spies that we were supposed to be? You were, okay. But we just had to do funny poses. And that was really nice because I think we were in about groups of 8. And there was maybe 35 to 50 people there. Can't remember the exact number, but a lot of different faces and a lot of different people that just came from all different corners of Georgia. It goes by district. I think you guys probably know it better than me. But it was mainly people from kind of the Brunswick area and then stretching all to the north and stuff. And so just to meet all those different people was in itself a very cool experience. After that scavenger hunt, we had our first session, which we had various sessions lined up throughout the week, where we just had kind of people from different backgrounds coming to speak about leadership. The first person we spoke to was the district governor, who is named Felix. I imagine some of you have probably met him, but if not, he's just this incredibly kind, humble person who is just there for everybody all the time. And so I really appreciated that personally. But what he spoke about was the history of Rotary Club, the values that Rotary Club has. And he just, we did a lot of team exercise work that day. And then after that, Wayne Farley from the Gathering Place came in, who was a pastor, I think. And it was this just nearby church. And he came in and we did more team building activities. We did this one with these various ropes, which I don't completely understand how it works, but I guess if you line up a bunch of people in a circle and then put ropes all the different ways, it's possible to untangle it no matter what. And so we were just tasked with doing that. And so that was an interesting experience. The next day, we had a few other speakers come in, but my favorite part of that second day was MAP International. MAP International is, it's in the Brunswick area, but it's this gigantic facility where they pack and ship out various kind of first aid and equipment to impoverished areas all around the world. So we walked through these gigantic warehouses, which just had boxes upon boxes stacked up. And all of them were labeled for different places. There were probably like 80 to 100 boxes, which maybe twice the size of this table right here, which were labeled for the Philippines. There were ones that were going to other places like I think Somalia, and even there a lot in Africa, but then a lot in kind of the area where you have the Philippines and Australia, and kind of the Polynesian islands. And that was just a cool experience because we got to actually see this gigantic, massive facility. But then we got to be part of that process. They put us into these gigantic lines and we got to pack the different equipment ourselves. We did probably a couple hundred packages by the time the 2 hours was up. And then we came back home and we did this just kind of pizza party and a couple other sessions, which were very cool. That next day, we went to the beach, which was obviously very nice. It was really, really hot that day though, so we had to leave early. But while we were there, we met with Dwayne Harris, who is the former Department of Natural Resources Director. And he spoke to us on the beach at this World War II Memorial Museum, because Brunswick is one of the only home fronts of the US during World War II. And during that conversation with Dwayne Harris, he described his experiences being the Director of Natural Resources for coastal Georgia. He was one of the people who in the 80s helped really trailblaze the laws that protect the really fragile ecosystems on the coast of Georgia that we have today. And so without him, we wouldn't have any of the protections that we have. And so to be able to speak to somebody who really did these monumental things, that was very, very cool. After that, we went back to I guess it's not, it's the college, but it felt more like a gigantic hotel because nobody was there except for us. And we did another session with this person who when he was a kid, he was this online hacker. He has Tourette's, but he was super, super smart and he just didn't really fit in with his peers. But eventually, when he got a little older, he started putting it to good use. And now in Brunswick and in the coastal Georgia area. He's the #1, I guess, kind of computer consultant in the area. And so that was very cool to listen to his story. And we also had, it was, do you remember how to pronounce her name? The woman from Afghanistan. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce her name either. So I think it was what, Fahima? Something along those lines. I apologize to her if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But she was from Afghanistan, and she grew up there until she was, I think, around the age of 17. And her story was very, very touching. She obviously suffered this lifetime of abuse from the system that they had there, but also from kind of her family. She grew up on a farm, and they have this race-based class system in Afghanistan, which most people in the US don't know about, but it's very, very prevalent there. And so there is a lot of very difficult topics. They're commonplace killings of them just based on their ethnic origin. And so she had to go through that, and she had to live with that experience until, of course, the Americans came in. And during the American occupation, things were better, but things definitely weren't perfect. And so she wanted to get out of Afghanistan, even though it was her home, kind of in any way that she could. And so eventually, one day when she was taking somebody that she knew to a hospital in Afghanistan, they had to wait in these huge, long queues of people, which were hundreds of people long, just to get into the hospital, to get checked out. And eventually, when she got all the way there, there was this one woman in line who was in front of her, who she couldn't speak any English. And the people who were running the queues were American. And so they could not communicate. The Americans didn't know how to speak their language. The Afghanis didn't know how to speak the Americans' language. And so there was just this gap, and this woman couldn't communicate what she needed to the Americans. And the American who was at that checkpoint was a little dismissive. He didn't totally know what was going on. And so eventually Fahima saw this, and she'd actually been studying all her life for this moment. She was one of the only people that she knew who actually studied the English language. And even better than that, she was the only woman. There wasn't anybody else in her area who knew how to speak English who was also a woman. And so when she saw that going on in front of her, she spoke to the American and she said, "I can speak English." And that was her ticket out. Immediately after that, she got a job as a translator. And so she would stand in the queues, but eventually, as kind of the only woman who spoke English in that area, she began doing more important things until eventually she was able to come to America to complete her studies here. She went to college, and then she eventually got her graduate degree here too. And when she was leaving to do her graduate degree, she actually got pretty much the last plane out of there when we withdrew our forces. And so she was just about 8 hours away from being there when the Taliban took back over. And so it's very heavy, but to have somebody in front of you speaking to you like that, who's conquered so much, just to be where she is, it's awe-inspiring. It's just incredibly motivating. And it's living proof that you can really do anything. And so I think that's probably a good place to end it off.
Thank you, Alex. Our next speaker is Cannon Hitchcock. He is a senior at John Millage Academy. He too is a soccer player. And he had started, his mom was bragging on him, which all moms do. But Cannon has started an organization for back to school supplies, working with communities and school, which has been quite successful from what I understand. So thank you, Cannon, for doing that. And he is also in dual enrollment at Georgia College. He has several colleges that he plans to apply to and would like to do something in the computer field or possibly go to flight school. So Cannon?
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Mark. He's the only reason why I was able to go to Rotary, which I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I had never heard of it even before the week right before I went. But louder? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So
Don't pay any attention.
So I had really never heard of Rotary. My mom had told me how she had gone to a couple meetings before, but and so she presented me with this, that Mark said that there was a spot opening and he would like for me to go. And when I first heard about it, I wasn't the happiest ever, just been 4 days away in Brunswick, Georgia, where I'd never been, in a long drive. But honestly, I really loved the experience. I met great people from basically all over District 3, I believe it was. And like he was talking about Felix was amazing. He was the district governor. He actually invited me over to his house to play pickleball a lot. So he texts me still. But I love Felix. And I guess we'll get started with our first day. So we came in, he got there, Alex did get there earlier than me because he was doing he was helping more because he was an adult. So he was helping along with them more. And so I got there around 2:30. We did this right as soon as I got there, put my stuff up. While I was bringing my second load of clothes up, they called me down to put them down and go into this. So we did this little scavenger hunt. And there's my group right there at the pond. And so that was the first like thing that we did that day. And it was like I was very scared. Very scared because there was a bunch of people I never knew. I only knew Alex because we played a year of travel soccer together. That was the only person I knew throughout the whole entire thing, and I was very, very scared. So but honestly, I love the people, the leaders were they made everything so much better for us, and then all the people there were so nice. And so this is just about our first session. Alex has already gone through this. Do y'all want to hear it again? I mean, y'all don't have to if y'all don't want to. This is like just the overview of day one, basically. So we just went through all this different stuff. I was just talking about how I like Felix, and then Wayne, who came and talked to us and did the little rope game, which was interesting. So and then going into day two, there was us at MAP International on the right there, and just talking about that. We did 150 boxes, and each box had 20 packets worth of medical supplies. So that was very fun to move them from one side of the place to another. And then this is just another thing going on. I talked more about Father Cornelius, who was there with us at MAP International, and he was a priest from I believe Nigeria. And so he came and talked to us about how he came his way from living in Nigeria for, I think he's around 50, 60. So he was living in Nigeria for about 45, 50 years. And then he got moved to America. That was, I believe, his 6-month get there in Brunswick, which he works in Savannah now. But his story really touched me because how he got to America and how he was all new to everything. He said he doesn't like the food. Not spicy enough. Said it wasn't spicy, but. And then there's a day 3 at the beach. Again, very hot. I think it was like 101 or something. About like Milledgeville right now. But so that was fun. And then we also had some more sessions, which those were fun. they were long, but they were fun. But and then pretty sure this night we ended up staying up till like 2 o'clock, and we had to wake up at 6 a.m. So that was also really fun. So and then we also got ready for graduation, which was the next day. And there's the last day. That was not taken on the last day, but that was our picture, our whole entire group picture and whatnot. So we packed up at 8 a.m., turned our keys in, we ate breakfast, then we had the graduation ceremony, and that took about an hour or something. And then it was very fun experience, a lot of memories, met a lot of great people. The leaders were unbelievable, like I said, and then we had to say goodbyes to all of our friends, which that wasn't fun because they all live hours and hours away. So and then I left on the 4-hour fun drive back to Milledgeville, which was so much fun. And that was the first time I had ever driven like an hour by myself. So that was a lot. And that's it was fun. I took a wrong turn, but cost me about 30 minutes. But that's all I got. So
Back up to if you have any questions for either of the young men. Obviously, they had a really good time. Learned a lot of good things and had some good speakers, but they're open for questions, so.
Okay, I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
Where were some of the other students from?
So there were a lot from Brunswick and like the St. Simons area. I think there was probably about 20 of them from there. There were a couple from there's Ludwig, maybe, is that place? No, that's not a place. Ludwig, yeah. It was like some German scientist. I don't know, they were talking about that. And then there were some from Macon. There were a couple from Macon that went to private schools up there because I knew some because they had gone to like FPD and Mountain Sales and whatnot. We played them in sports.
Wasn't there some from Dublin too?
Yeah, there were some from Dublin. There were some from Perry. There was a couple from Perry. That's where Felix was from. It's about all the ones I know. It was a lot from Brunswick, so it's more than.
All right, thanks.
Would you do it again?
Would I do it again? I actually got invited to go do it again. So I got invited to go do what Alex did last year and go like be like a helper and whatnot. But I might do it. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I really did. That's not the problem. It's just I've got to figure out what I'm doing with my summer first and whatnot. Because if I do hopefully get into Georgia, I'm probably going to end up doing Thrive, which I'll have to get ready for that, which is like you go in like a month and a half before school and you go ahead and like take 2 classes and get that done and just go ahead and be there. So I can like go ahead and it's what my sister did and it helped her a lot. And I felt like it would help me a lot. So I'll have to see how that goes.
Would you encourage others
Oh yeah.
in your schools to go?
Oh, it was great.
What may get you to do that?
What was your best or favorite experience?
So we did this silent dance party. Was very skeptical about it before we did it. So you have like headphones on and like people dance, and it was just funny to watch some people dance.
Let's take it out.
Oh yeah, you would take it off, and everybody would be dancing. And there would just be like no sound at all.
Well,
And it was hilarious.
some of them would sing along to it too.
Oh,
But then there would just be like one person who would kind of do like the interjections. So that was very entertaining.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
You said ropes. Y'all both said it was interesting.
Oh, it was hard.
Yeah.
No, that silent dance party was something.
It went on for a while too.
Yeah, it was like 2
It
hours
was
long.
like 2 hours long.
And people were still dancing, and I was like sitting on the couch. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah, he fell asleep.
Yeah, it's a good thing you got experience because you moved again at UGA for orientation. So.
Silent dance party? Oh no. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, they do have a silent disco. So.
I don't know if I'll be going to that one. Might stay away.
Maybe a group of us and your mom could come up there and do that, twist my arm.
You know, I think I'm gonna feel sick that day.
But it's not, I mean, I understand that was memorable, but like.
I think the people are my favorite part. Like
You
the,
stayed in touch with.
yeah, I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of the kids there, and the people who obviously like the people who are there helped us a lot. I love Felix. Felix is my best friend. So he still invites me to go play pickleball. He's invited me like 4 times. I'm like, I can't go to Perry just whenever. I mean, maybe, but true. Well, I don't want to make him drive an hour and a half. He's got stuff to do. Macon? There ain't nothing to do with Macon. Yeah. But I'd say definitely the people was the best part. That's what made it for me.
Okay. Right here. We have a library book from the Mary Benson Library as part of our Jill's Books collection, and it has a book plate in it with the story of Jill's Books program, but it's how we support literacy in the community of the kids. So if you just please, each one of this is a speaker gift, and we're very grateful. But oh, is that how you sign?
Barbara Coleman.
That one, right?
Yeah, there should be one more way back there. They charge us for it too. Yeah, but this is a piece.
Wait, how's this been working?
Twist.
Oh gosh. Oh, there we go. I got
There you
it.
go. Place the 15.
No, it's not. Just, I just got back to school. I got to give me. Oh, wait,
Both sides?
just like real.
Thank you both. All right. Thank you, Cannon and Alex, for speaking today on behalf of your Rala experience. And guest today, Matthias, always, where's Matthias? Again. Again, okay. Well, please tell him we enjoyed his company again today. And Jason, thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to you transferring. Again, reminder for Tom, anyone with chainsaws, you're welcome to show up at the tennis court Saturday morning at 8:30 and help him get his trail finished. Okay?
I just realized I failed to introduce my guest. And it's mom.
All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Briefly at this meeting.
Like it's on your show. Okay, I don't know why we're getting another building here. Let me see if there's another.
Thank you again, Bob. I appreciate it.
Don't be a stranger, come join us. at Commission anytime.
I would love it, keep more work. I like to.